for loop. Let's get started with a for loop again, but this time I'm going to discuss about the nested for loop. And before I start doing the program, I would like to have basic explanations about the nested for loop, how the nested for loop works, and so on. For example, let's say now, let us consider a scenario where the scenario could be something like this. Scenario could be something like this. For example, a n number of a student may study number of subjects. Let's say the question could be the n number of n number of students. Let's say a n number of students may study n number of subjects.
Sorry, we are not able to see a screen, sir.
Not my okay. Let me just share my screen, everyone. So let me just okay. Actually, okay. That's it. Now is it visible, everyone? Is my sound clear and all? If my sound is not clear or if something is wrong, then let me push it up. I just got the data cable. I don't know where I kept. Just a few seconds, everyone. I just have got something. Okay, it's fallen down. I'm very bad at remembering the things. Okay. We have a data update, and I think I can. All right. Okay, nice. So is my screen visible to everyone? So can you see my screen? Can you maybe make a very quick information, everyone? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Is my voice clear to everyone?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So let's get started. Now let us assume that we have a scenario
No, sir.
where we have a n number of students and n number of students may study m number of subjects. So what does this mean? So this means that there may be 10 students and each student may study 5 subjects. Let's say, for example. Okay. So a student Ram can study 4 subjects, student Sam may study 5 subjects, student Harika may study 10 subjects, and so on. So there could be some cases. Let's say there might be a n number of students who might study m number of subjects. Okay. So we could be having such cases, and in this case, what we need to do is we need to, let's say, publish the name of all the subject that has been studied by the student. So let's say we need to publish the percentage scored by the student. Okay. So let's say a program is to be written that let's say a program is to be written that reads n and m and calculate mark and full mark and the pass mark and calculate percentage for each student. My case, this could be my case, everyone. So I would need to calculate a percentage for each and every student. If there are 10 students and each student study 4 subjects, then I need to calculate the marks of all those 4 subjects for that particular student. So all right, everyone, you might see a lot of complications here. So whatever the complications you face, I'll just show you. There might be some issue that you will encounter, and I'll just let you know how you can sort those issues out here. So question is very straightforward. Let me know if you have. Okay. All right, everyone. So now let us see that how to do this work. So before I move into this task, let me show you some examples of for loop, nested for loop. So nested for loop will be something like for I equals to 0, I is less than 4, I plus plus. Then inside this loop, I'll be having another loop for j equals to 0, j is less than, let's say, 4, and j plus plus. Let's say here I'm printing something. In this body, I'm going to print something. So let's say print a j. Let's say, for example, I'm printing j here. Okay, I'm going to print here. Using specifier and slash t here. And for every jth operation, I'll also put a console or right line here. That will work. It came. Okay, it came. So let's see one example before I get into this program. Let us see one example of a nested for loop and let us try to understand how it works. So basically, whenever you have a loop inside the loop, first of all, inner loop will complete its operation, then only it will go for the outer loop for each iteration. In this case, let's say here in this case, what we have is I value is 0, I is less than 4. That's a true condition, and this is a post increment operation. So first of these things will happen. In the case like now again this will go into here, j equals to 0, j is less than 4, and the post increment of the j happens here. That means all things will not happen and the j value will increase by 1. This is going to print j. So initially the value of j is 0, so this will print 0. Then instead of going this up, this will still go up here. This won't go up, this will go here. So this will look into the new value of j, which is I, and I is less than 4. That's correct. So I value now there will be a post increment with the j. The j value will be printed, and the new value of j will be 2. So 2 is less than 4, 3 is less than 4. So in this way, this will print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 1, 2, 3. And when it comes and when the value of j is 4, it will not take. It will just say that j 4 is not less than 4. In that case, now it will move up. Now in that case, the value of I would have become 1. 1 is less than 4. That's true. Again, there is a post increment of the I. Then this will come over here, and now this will again check. Now the value of j is no longer 4. The value of j won't be 4. The value of j now will start with 0, and this will iterate from 0 to 3. So again, this will print 0, 1, 2, 3. This will go up, but the I value will be now 2. Condition is true, so this will again happen. This will again print 0, 1, 2, 3. Again, this will go up. Now this will go for 3. 3 is correct. So again, this will be 0, 1, 2, 3. Again, this will go up, and this will find the value of I to be 4. So 4 is not equal to 4. Then this will come out of the loop. So this is how it works, everyone. So let me show you an example how it works. Then I will analyze this whole program, everyone. So let us see. Let me create a new project. Let me choose console. Let me name it to nested for loop. Let me keep it to some Kathmandu group. Yeah. Create. Yeah, so this is my window. So as I told you, first of all, let us begin with the very simple stuff. For example, let's say we have 4i equals to 0, I is less than 4, I plus, okay, I made a mistake here, I equals to 0, I is less than 4 and I plus plus. Inside this loop I have another loop for integer j equals to 0, j is less than 4 and j plus plus the time the condition is true. Inside this loop, and here I'm going to print the value of j. I'm going to print the value of j. Let me have a tab here. I'm going to print so I'll just make some modification /run. We have a console.write line here. And outside of this main loop, I'll just put the console.read line. What would happen here? In this case, what would happen is, so you can see I value is 0, I is less than 4, that's correct. And then there is a post increment of I. This will get into this loop, then the j value is 0. 0 is less than 4, the value of j will increase by 1. Now this will print 0. Now this will not go up unless these all loops conditions are satisfied. Then a new value of j will be 1. 1 is less than 4. The new value of j will be now 1. This will happen here. So this will become 1, then 2, then 3. And finally, then this will go up. And the new value of I is 1. 1 is less than 4. That's correct. So there is a post increment of 1. Again, this comes here. Now the j value is not equal to 3. The j value will start with 0 again here. Inside the loop, in a loop, the value get initialized. So j value is now again 0. So again, this will repeat itself. And when the all conditions are satisfied, again this will go up till the time these conditions are not satisfied. So let us till the time the conditions are satisfied. So this will keep on executing. So you can say 0, 1, 2, 3 every time, 0, 1, 2, 3 every time, 0, 1, 2, 3 every time, 0, 1, 2, 3 every time. So if you want to go into more detail, you can just use a breakpoint here, and then I will just show you how the things happen here. Now this came into this loop C. Now this loop will not interrupt unless all conditions are satisfied below. So this came here, again this went up, again this went up, again this went up. Now this went after the value of j is 4, sorry 3. You can just see what is the value of j here.
In the morning.
Anyway, so let me continue this. Now this will go up. Now the I value will be now 2. Okay, I value is still 0, but once I do one step. Now the I value will be is 1, and for 1 these all iterations should happen. And this will iterate for 4 times. Then this will go up. First of all, again inner operation should happen, and then this will go up here again. In the meantime, you can see what output they are getting here. You can also see, okay, this completed till here. Now this too will happen, and then it will come out of the loop. Sorry, I just made it in the wrong place. can check out here, and we have all those values here. In this way, this loop will get iterated. So first of inner loop will get executed, and then the outer loop will get executed. So this is the main fundamental concept of a for loop. If you have any loop inside this, then inner loop will again happen. Then only it will go for the outer loop to be executed. All right, everyone. So we have done some basic operations with the nested for loop. Or if you have a question, you can raise your question, sir, everyone. If anybody has a question on this, so you can raise your question here. If you think it's okay, then I'll continue. Or if you have a question, then you can raise your question. So no questions, everyone? Anyone? Okay. All right, so let's continue further. Let's get into the solutions for the question that I gave you. So this is the question I gave you. N number of students may study M number of subjects. A program is to be written that with N and M, obtain mark, full mark, and the pass mark, and calculate the percentage for each student. So this is our major objective. So let's see how we can solve this question using nested for loop conditions. So does anybody have a question here? Anyone? Do you have a question?
Sorry, sir.
Oh, I'm just going to mute all. So now let's get started with the further. So just I want to implement the program to calculate the percentage of N number of students who study N number of subjects. Okay, so let's get started now. So let me go to a new one. Okay. Where I am in. And now let's get started. The total number of the students which is to be stored in N. All loops will happen in a way that I read the iteration should take place for the same number of candidates. So I just can use now for loop. Small mistake. For I just can use integer I equals to 0. So every time the condition is true. And for integer j equals to 0. Sorry, not 0. Here I need to ask student name.
Sir.
Yes, any question, anyone?
Sir, हामीले ब्याक स्ल्यासलाई इग्नोर गर्नु पर्यो भने के गर्नु पर्छ यो माथि?
ब्याक स्ल्यासले के गर्नु पर्यो रे?
इग्नोर गर्नु पर्यो भने के जस्तै त्यहाँनिर त्यो प्रिन्ट गर्नु
इग्नोर गर्नु पर्यो?
मतलब त्यसलाई स्ट्रिङमै प्रिन्ट गर्नु पर्यो के?
Okay. So you want to ignore this backslash? So I think I don't know, but in Python there is an option, but I don't know we can ignore this here. There is a way using at the rate. Yeah, by using at the rate you can do. Right? So if you put at the rate in the beginning, so I think this will be ignored. Got my point?
What, sir?
No?
Why, sir? Why?
Okay. So a student name, and then we have, let's say, a string student name. to ask how many subjects has he studied. Studied by him. Studied here. We have read the number of subjects studied by that candidate. And now you want to iterate through the value of him reading his subject name, pass mark, obtained mark, full mark, and calculate the total obtained mark, calculate the total full mark, calculate the percentage, display them all. So this is what we want to do here. Let me do console.clear here. So this stuff here again anywhere. So now I can ask him for integer I equals to j plus 2 every time the condition is true, and now I can ask him the subject name and everything. We don't need to have a subject name and something else, but cannot print them. Had a concept of array and the error list, then you could have done that. But simply you cannot print them all. You can print them for a loop. Okay, that's a subject name. The subject name in this case is, let's say, subject name. Actually, I don't. Okay, so actually, I don't want to do anything. But actually, you don't need this. Okay, but let us leave it as it is. What you need is here mark. And we can declare a variable. All right. Pass mark. You need obtain mark. The obtain mark. Okay, so all done. And you want to calculate total of full mark and total obtain mark. Well, F mark. Let's see. Plus equals to. Okay, declared but never used, so never mind. Just can do like this. This is giving me an issue here because this is being called as unsigned variable. So let me do one thing. Equals to 0 for now. If I do that, then there is a problem here because every time this will be set to 0 and then that will create a problem. So let me create this as a variable here. Equals to 0. But there will be still a problem here, everyone, and I'll see where is the problem. I need a percentage. So let me also define percentage somewhere here. Initializes to 0 here. Let's say percentage is to be calculated equals to f mark into 100. So for a candidate, percentage is calculated. Now let me go outside of this loop, and for this candidate I'll print the percentage obtained. This can tell console of right line. And the percentage is scored by whom? Is this candidate, so percentage. Specify the positions, 0 positions. And here I can make a string flip because I don't want to display this unwanted value. Now whatever the number of candidate will have, this will get repeated and this will calculate the student and the person. Now there is a small logical error here, everyone. There is small logical error, and I will show you what exactly the error is here. So let's run and check this first, and let us try to analyze what error we get here. Total number of students, I'm making it 2. Student name something. Subject study, let's say you study 2 subject. Subject name something. Full mark 100, 32. Obtained mark also, let's say 56. Subject name something. Full mark 100. Pass mark 32 and obtained mark, let's say 78. In this case, the percentage is scored by the student name is 67. Now that's the next student. Let's say his name is something. Number of subject studies for him, let's say he is studying 2 subjects again. Subject name something. Full mark 100. And let's say he obtained only 23. Sorry. It's okay, that doesn't make a difference. Let's say he obtained only 21. Subject name another. Full mark is 100. Pass mark is 32. He obtained only 2 marks. Percentage scored by him is still 39.25, everyone. So let me just make it more clear here. So let me go and just see. So, okay, let us make it something more. Let me just have it. Try to do a little bit more. Okay, let us say that I have a total number of students is 2. Name is Ram. Total study is 6. Let's say study physics. And he obtained, let's say 99 marks. Subject name is, let's say, maths. Full mark is 100. Pass mark is 32. Again, there is a student called Sam. Total number of subject studies is again 2. Subject name, let's say programming. Mark is 100. Pass mark is 32. And 99 here. Subject name is, let's say, network. Then full mark is again 100. Pass mark is 32. And obtained mark is again 99. Now what should be the percentage? This will be 99. Okay, we got it. No issue. So percentage is 99. So values are being researched. I don't know if there is any issue here. So this is how we have been able to use a loop. Where did I define this here? Okay. Not this guy. Let me just make it clear here. Let me see what is the issue. Let us try to analyze this as well. What is actually we are getting the appropriate value or not? Let me just see. Let us say we have two students. The first student name is Ram. Number of subjects is 2. The first subject name is history. Full mark is 100. Pass mark is 32 or he obtained 90. Second subject, let's say study geography. 32 and he has still obtained 90 here. So the full total marks is 100 plus 100, 200, and the total obtained marks is 90 plus 90, 180. That is correct. Now there is another student called Sam. He also studied two subjects. He also studied history. 100 was the full mark, 32 was the pass mark, and he obtained 90 here. He studied geography. 100 was the full mark, 32 was the pass mark, and he still obtained 90 here. Yes, the problem is here, everybody. See, percentage scored by Sam is absolutely correct. Total marks, how come this is 400? Is it 400? No. Total marks was actually only 200 and total obtained marks was only about 180, but we are getting a false value here. So this is a logical error in my program. This is some sorts of logical error. Actually, the calculation for getting a percentage was correct, but still have some logical error here. For example, we are getting a total marks as 400 and total obtained marks is 800, which is not correct actually. Which is actually not correct. So how to avoid this error and why they have this error is coming out here. This error is very unknown. Let's say you might not find it very. You may not be able to trace this out very easily. Okay, so I'm back now. Then there is an error. So let us say now everybody. So we are just having these issues here. The values there, a full mark is getting increased, obtained mark is getting increased, but they are not resetted. They are not being reset. Okay. So for one student, if a full mark is 100, for other student, the full mark will be 200 and 300 and 400 and 500. So this will go on increasing. Similarly, obtained mark will go on increasing, but their values are never reset for a single candidate. So here what I need to do is I need to reset the value so that this won't get repeated again. So here I need to set f mark equals to 0 and equals equal to 0. Then only you will be getting the appropriate values. Alright, so this one I need to get f mark equals to 0 or mark equals to, I need to reset the value for each candidate here. Once I print all this value, let's see whether this works or not. Okay, 2 RAM, 2 subject, again history 100 and 90 100 32 and let's say 90 again. For the first candidate it's very fine. Second candidate is Sam, again 2, again history 32, obtain mark is again let's say for him also 90, geography 100 32 and obtain mark let's say again he obtains 90. Now this is correct. Now for him also total marks is 200 and total obtained marks is 180 and he got the appropriate value here. So since the value was not being reset of the full mark and the obtained mark, we are getting the unwanted value added for a new student, and that will give you a very big error. Sometimes even a miscalculations. So do you have any questions here, anyone till now in the nested flow of anyone in this session? Do you have a question here, anyone? If you have a question, please let me know. Let me know if you have a question here. If you do not have a question, then I am going to proceed with the while loop and the do while loop. So while loop and the do while loop are very similar to each other, but there is some differences. In fact, while for loop and a do while all perform the same operation, but there are some differences into the way they work, the differences with the syntaxes. So now, if you have a question here, please raise your question. If you don't have a question, then I'll skip this and then I'll jump into the while loop. Okay, anyone? So I'm going to start the while loop now. The while loop has a very simple syntax, as you might have already studied. While with some conditional operation, conditional expression. Now I am going to write one program and I am going to ask an individual what would be the output of the program. So let me start with a new one. Let me start with the while loop. Let me ask you a question. Read this program very clearly, everyone. So let see this program very carefully. I declare a variable I equals to 0. I have a conditional expression while I is less than 5, and I am trying to print the value of I. Now, what do you think should be the output of this program? Let me ask you one. So, Bhavin, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Bhavin, so can you tell me what will be the output of this program?
So I think it will print 0.
It will be 0. Okay, fine. Thank you for the response, Bhavin. Okay, so let me ask somebody else. So, Ashish Adhikari, are you there? Ashish Adhikari. Okay, Ashish, can you tell me what will be the output of this program? What do you think should be the output of this program?
Sorry, Andrea.
Ashish, what do you think should be the output of this program?
What's that?
No matter whatever you tell me, it's just okay. If you even mention is wrong, right? No problem. Just tell me what could be the output of this program. Simple, very simple. Okay. If you are having difficulty, it's okay. Anybody wants to reply me, just raise your hand.
0 5 times.
0,
5 times.
5 times. Okay, thank you for your response. Who was it? Sudeep. Okay, Sudeep, thank you for your response. So let us see what exactly is the output of this, okay?
Sudeep is our listeners.
So see what is the output, can you see?
Break or resonance.
This is getting into an infinite loop, right? Now let me see why is it happening. This is happening because let's say, what is the value of 5? 0. Is 0 less than 5? Yes. So this is going to print it. Again, this is going up. The value of I is neither increasing nor decreasing. So is 0 less than 5? Yes. This is printing it again. Is 0 less than 5? Again printing. Is 0 less than 5? Again printing. So the value of I is never altered. So that's why this will move into an infinite loop. And every time the condition is true, this will print the value of 5. Okay. So here what I could do is, I could simply do I plus plus. So increase the value of I. If I increase the value of I, so initially the value of I is 0. So 0 less than 5 is correct. Absolutely fine. Then again this will print I. And the next time the value of I will be incremented by 1. And since it is incremented by 1, this will go up. And this will check 1 is less than 5. Yes, that is less than 5. 2 is less than 5. Yes, that is less than 5. 3 is less than 5. Yes, that is also less than 5. 4 is less than 5. Yes, 4 is also less than 5. Now time will come when the value of I will be 5. Is 5 less than 5? No. Then it will come out of the loop. In this case, this is going to print the value of I as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's see. So got my point, everyone. So did you understand my concept? Did you understand what I was trying to explain you? Okay. So do you have a doubt here with the while loop, anyone? A very simple concept of the while loop.
No, sir.
Okay. So if you have understood this while loop, so it's not that really difficult, everyone. So you could implement whatever you have done in the for loop. For example, we have just created a table, isn't it? We could do the same with the while loop also. For example, let me convert this program to calculate the table using a let's say by reading the number, whichever the table you want to find out, and also finding out the limit for the table. So I just can make integer number and a limit. All right, now table of I Okay, let me have one more variable. While integer I is less I cannot define an integer, so let me define it up. Equals to 0. That's an actually limit. Okay, there is a problem here. I command number and y. I need to increase the value of I. Value should start with 1 because I just want. And this is going to again print the multiplication table of any number that you want. Let's run it again, everyone, and let's see the value. All right, so let's I want to find the table of 23 and I want to find it up to 20. And here you get the table of 23 up to 20. So this is how it works. So this is how it works. All right, everyone. So this is all about the while loop. So now we are still left with the do while loop. So do while loop is very simple. It's let's say very similar to the while loop, but there is a condition. For example, let's say. So before I move into the next one, so let me know if you have any confusion here. Do you have any confusion with the while loop, anyone?
No, sir.
No, right?
sir.
Okay, it's very easy because you have already learned this stuff, so that I'm moving a bit fast. So let me first show you one another example. Integer x equal to 1, equal to 2. Can anybody in my class tell me what will be the output of this program? Can you tell me what will be the output of this program? Anyone in this class?
Nothing.
Yes, output will be nothing. Output will be nothing. Why? Because x value is 1 and the condition is just checking 2. So while loop, what it will do, first of all, this will check the condition. If the condition is true, then only the execution will take place. Okay. Otherwise, no execution will take place. But the do while loop is very different. Do while loop is different. Do while loop, what this will do? Do while loop will execute the statement first, then this will check the condition. And no matter even if the condition is false, this will execute for the first time. So let us see the syntax for the do while loop. So let us see the do while loop. Let me paste it here. So this is the do while loop. We have something like this, semicolon there and do. We have do, body, and the while condition, checking condition. So do while loop, what it will do? First of all, this will check the condition. Sorry, first of all, this will execute the statement. And then this will check the condition. If the condition is not true, then further execution will take place, otherwise execution will not take place. So got my point, everyone? So if I run this now, you will see still the condition is false, but it is executed for once, right? Execution will take place for once. Even if the condition is false, but the execution will take place for once. If it was a while loop itself, the execution would never take place. Execution will never take place in the case of a while loop, but in the case of a do while loop, execution takes place at least for once, even if the condition is false, and the further execution depends upon the conditions. If they are true, then further execution will take place. If the conditions are false, then no further execution will take place. So this is your do while loop, everyone. And with this do while loop, I am at the end of the loop and I'm at the end of the stretch session. and I have done with the loops, everyone. And if you have still a confusion with the loops, you can let me know your queries, or you can just drop me a message if you have any doubt or confusions. So do you have any questions, anyone here, with a while loop and a do while loop? I skipped this. I moved faster because you already have learned this stuff. So I don't want to bore you with this long lectures on this do while loop and the loop while loop. Any questions, anyone? Any question, anyone with the while loop and the do while loop and the for loop?
No, sir.
No, right? So from tomorrow we are going to start something called collections. We'll be starting collections. Under collection we'll be starting array list, and the list. So these are the things that we will study tomorrow. Okay, so I'll end today's session for now. Before I end, let me take the attendance. Okay, that's taken. Let me record the video.